Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere. There's going to be a live version of this or a recorded version of this. And give me just a moment. They've changed a few things. Mm-mm-mm. Bum, boom. Where the hell did it go? Why do they do things like this? Bum, 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 bum. What the hell? What the hell, I say? What the hell? Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm trying to get. Oh, there it is. Nope, nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. There we go. They changed some things in their settings and make it a little bit more difficult for us old folks. So, how y'all doing out there? I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson, and Pencils to Beauty is what today's title is going to be. Pencils to Beauty. All right. Last episode, it'd been a while, is what the title was called. And because we've been gone a week. And where I was at, I didn't have any real cell phone service at all. Helping take care of my mother, who just got a pacemaker put in, and all of that goody good stuff. And so, you know, it's hard to do a show from her place just because of that fact that there is hardly any service out there whatsoever. And it makes it very, very difficult to do a show. We've tried many, many times to do a show from her place, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't help itself out. As you know, I'm a disabled veteran. I am a illustrator, and I do homesteading as well. And the girlfriend, as she was heading to work this morning, forgot her phone. Number one, so she couldn't call me or text me or any of that good stuff. Number two, she comes in here as I was setting up for the show and is like, "Hey, I need your help. Come on." So I run out there real fast, and she's got a possum that's been hit by a car, and so we've got it in the bathroom trying to rehabilitate it. And we do have some rehabbers that can take care of that better than we can. So just know that we are trying to help rehabilitate a possum at the same time. So I'll be checking on him periodically, or her. I don't know which, if it's a male or a female yet. Didn't look at that. I was just putting it in a tote and getting it all covered up and comfortable. So there you go. All right. So last time we talked about some cool things that happened, and I forgot one thing as it was sitting right here next to me. We go kayaking now that we've got our kayaks a little bit more enjoyable, if you will. We got some new seats for the kayaks because the old ones they're good, but they just hurt your ass as you kayak for hours. And when we go out, we kayak for hours. We don't just go up, for 5, 10 minutes or whatever, and like, oh, okay, let's go. No, we're out for 3, 4 hours at a time sometimes. I mean, hell, this last trip it took us an hour just to get from point A to point B on the way back, and we did a timer on it just to see. I think we were about 3, maybe 4 miles upriver. So, on that note, um, she we started out on that trip just you know enjoying. I was fishing, she was fishing, and then we she noticed something on the bank. So we pull up on the bank, and she gets out and goes over to it and starts doing some digging, some excavating, and we uncover a bottle. Pretty cool bottle. We got all of the numbers and stuff like that off of it. It was the first time Duraglass was used. All of that good stuff. 1.5 gallon right there. Bum, bum, bum. The old moonshine jug right there. They would stick their finger through here and they would tilt it up and drink on it right there. 1.5 gallon as it shows you right there. And then Duraglass all around the bottom. And then, of course, these numbers on the bottom give you what year it was actually made. Now, this bottle is about as old as I am. Just kidding. It's actually older than my mother. This is was made in 1941. It has no chips. It has no dings. It has no nothing. It is in mint condition for a bottle. Just a little dirty from being in the mud because all we saw was this portion sticking out of the bottom or of the mud, and the rest of it was buried completely in the mud. It was filled with river water, and that's a cool find as you're just out exploring and fishing. And so she started looking for other bottles after she got hung up a few times and got frustrated and broke off a lure and all that good stuff. So she started treasure hunting, if you will. So that was a cool find right there. Now these bottles go for anywhere between $12 to $35, depending on the collector and all that good stuff. But clean this up really, really nice. Look really good. And a lot of people still use these for other purposes. Now it does have the screw top lid on it right here, but again, 1941. So again, a lot older than most of you on the show right now. But there you go, some archaeological uncovering of cool stuff that you can find if you just look. Um, and that's just like when we go, as we always talk about crystal hunting. You can always find cool stuff out when you're crystal hunting. At the quarries and stuff like that, the crystal mines and the diamond mines. A friend of mine was asking me about the diamond mines, and I told him it's a cool experience just to go do it, but don't expect to find that 3.2 carat diamond. You know, because all we found was a few handful of rocks and some other mineral stuff, but we never found any diamonds when we were there. Now we will go back and knowing a little bit more what to look for, what you know different areas to look in and things like that. Because like a day and a half, 2 days later, somebody found a 3.2 carat diamond after we left. So it's always disheartening when you don't find a diamond when you go to a diamond mine, But and welcome to the show, everybody. Those of you that are here, those of you that are regulars here, welcome to the show. And let's take an ad break. V8 Energy, Peach Mango, the best flavor that they've got. Because all the rest of them taste like shit, this one is the best flavor that they do have. It is natural energy over the chemical stuff in, what is it? Red Bulls, Monsters, all of those type drinks. So get you some V8 Peach Mango energy drink. And V8, be my sponsor for this drink right here. And send me all you got. That's it for your ad break right there. No, they are not my sponsor, but they need to be as much as I promote them on my show. So you guys hit up V8 Energy and tell them to be my sponsor. But thank you all for being here, checking out the show. Today we are talking about pencils to beauty. I know we talk about it periodically, and it's like all of the things that we encompass whenever we are artists, there is a whole process behind everything. And hello out there, Brandy. Um, it's like you guys get to see the finished product, you know. Some of my originals, Bad Habits series right here. Boom, boom, boom. As well as my original paintings back here, the Bad Habits. This was my very first Bad Habits, my Naughty Nun series. Good morning, Casey. Welcome to the show. And then, of course, you got Chester up here, and then you got Dexter right next door. Now, this Dexter was actually thrown off of the wall or off the refrigerator back here whenever I didn't have this shelf back here and all that good stuff. So that was one of my ghost spots right there. What up, Shadowborn? How's it going today? And so, we always talk about the finished product. We always show the finished product. And A lot of people just think, boom, it's instantaneous when it comes to artwork. Well, it can be. You know, there are certain things that I kind of figured I could tell by the face there, but it's all no. You're good. You're good, Leo. I don't mind the changing of names. I can kind of tell who's who, by the facial stuff on their profiles and things like that. So I kind of figured, and I don't mind. That's your prerogative. You can change your name a million times or however many times you want to, or don't ever change your name. You know that is your total prerogative. And like his piece, his novella, I've got two different pieces. The other one's floating around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. This is the one I keep showing because it's the one I'm working on currently, tightening up the pencils and things like that. But if you look on her face right there. You see those little extra lines that are in the face area up in there, and you see the lines in the arms. That is the process to get to the whole flesh, if you will, the structure of the arms, the structure of the face. Because when you're drawing bodies, you're drawing shapes. And yeah, I know if you're using AI bullshit, you're typing in your prompts of what you want everything to look like. And again, AI isn't art. I'm sorry. And it's like this God of War piece. You can see all the tightening in when you get down to the nice tight chains of the arms and things like that. But then you look over here at this arm right here, and you just see the basic structure right there. So as I'm inking, as I'm continuing on with this piece, I begin to tighten everything in. This used to be just a circle where the shoulder was. And now you're starting to see the form of the ram's head or whatever the hell that is that's on that piece of armor, the God armor from God of War. So everything has a purpose, everything has a structured start point when it comes to the artwork side of things. And it's just like any paintings that I do, there is a structural start point. Let me find one that's got the structural points in it real fast. Okay. Now, sometimes there isn't a structural start point because you know what you're doing and you know where you're going with it. Now, like this one is going to be part of my new Dark series that I'm working on right here. There's going to be a lot more detail going in and on in there, but it's like a little demon piece to go with this little piece right here. Again, you see all the extra lines and all the extra stuff happening inside of this piece. And eventually, you get down to the cool stuff. Even as a kid, this survived a house fire, by the way. This was one of my, no, not one of my first drawings ever, but it's one of my more probably detailed drawings from when I was a kid. No, no, Shadow. I am not making a book. I mean, I am creating a comic book, but that is just like my Bad Habit series right here. It's the same. It's the same concept. Um, I do different themes when it comes to artwork. Like I'm going to work on a red series. I'm going to work on, you know, different things like that. And the Bad Habit series, which started with this one right here, all glow under black light. And then the second one was this one here. All these are up for grabs, by the way. And then this was my third one in the Bad Habit series, right there. And I have a few more that I want to do. I try to. I want to get it to about 5 per series when it comes down to it. Um, red will be one. Um, it just encompasses different things. Yes, yes, absolutely. And just like this shirt right here. This one is my number one top seller right here. My Joker painting. Boom, boom, boom. And all of my artwork gets to go on a shirt that I feel like needs to go on shirts or merchandise of sorts, different things. Now I can put it on patches, I can put it on hats, I can do this, I can do that. Um, Now I don't print it here personally at the house. I wish I could, but I ain't got the extra 16 grand laying around to do a direct to graphics or direct to garment printer. Because some of those are very expensive, and then the ink alone, just to get those going on. We print up to 5x is the size that we go to with the company that I use. So 5x is their max. So so we have options. Oh wow, okay, yeah. I haven't seen that size before, but hey, that's a big size. You're a big dude, you know, and that's you know people aren't going to mess with you at that point. So you're right. So you're like a wrestler. You need to be in the WWE or AEW. I get it. So yeah, the company that I deal with only goes to a 5x. Now, there are some companies that I deal with here locally that we could work with that. If you wanted one of my designs or even your design on a shirt, we can go that route as well because they were gracious enough, and Casey is the bearer and wearer of the logo shirt, the 412 logo. This little guy right here, once I find it, right there, that little guy right there, the alien logo. He just got his shirt in, and he could be wearing it right now. I don't know. And see, like you said, he loves his logo shirts, and he actually did a nice little shrine to our artwork here at 412 Productions of the artwork that he has been getting here as of late, the comic books and stickers and things of that nature. And so that's a cool little thing whenever you see the fandom like that where you're being seen and heard, you know, and I'm wearing it, yes. Well, I appreciate it, brother. 100%. So, when it comes down to it, everybody gets to see the finished product for the most part. And I know I show a lot of pencil work and things like that, but I don't show a lot of the raw stuff, what the process. Like right here. This is still in progress. This is a logo for this book, Sour Worlds, and it's going to be back here where all of this stuff is, where that logo is right now next to the signature. All of his books are going to have the Sour World logo on it, including shirts, um, coffee mugs, all this other good stuff. So I'm in the process, and it's very raw. It's not finished. It's 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 working towards completion. There's going to be words going across here that aren't even penciled in yet, you know. And so again, you get to see the rawness before the finished product. And there's a few pencil pieces up here still that you don't get to see because it's hard to see back here, unless you got really good eyes. But right there, excuse me. And like this chisel piece, you're getting to see the rawness of it all, how it plays out. The opening scene to Chisholm, you know, and it's like, well, why don't more artists show this section of life because this is a big section of where we are in life. It's just like all these pieces right here, you know. I did a Predator piece. This was my concept for it. So you get to see the line form, the structures, all that good stuff. And this one on the cover of the comic book. You know, I redefined it, did a few changes here and there, and it looked really cool. If you didn't see that cover, I'm sorry. You can go check it out on my Instagram or Facebook page because I don't remember if I posted it here or not. Obviously, there was a comic book that was supposed to go in that. I think that was that. Are these my? Oh yeah, here's the other concept. This was the first concept. Let me just pull it. Stay. This was the first concept for this. Yeah, it's very resemblance thereof of the same thing, but as you see, some things changed as it progressed, and that's what happens. Characters get bigger in the foreground. The the villain character gets a little bit bigger than it was here, and she's bigger than she was. She takes up more of the cover than she did in the original drawing. Now, this one is redefining as well as I'm tightening in the pencils on it too. Same book, two different concepts, and that's sometimes how it looks whenever you do different things when it comes to because you always have an envision in your head whenever you start a project, and I appreciate that. I mean, it is yours, so um, and so you have a vision whenever you start laying down your pencils. Sometimes that vision changes as you go along. You're like, well, this could because in reality, this was the very first one I drew up. But then it was like, well, maybe he won't like this one, you know, because I like the concept doesn't mean he's gonna like the concept. And so, he gave me free and full creativity to do what I wanted for his book, and it's kind of easy because I follow a lot of goth pages on Facebook, and one of his main characters is happens to be goth. So, you know, it made it a little easier for me to pick and choose a look for his character. Um, as and he's got her described in the book as well, and the description and all that good stuff that he sent me, and I read through them all, and so it made it easier to be like, hey, we can pinpoint a look for her and go that route. And of course, with goth, everything changes. So her look won't be the same in every book, in every aspect. So so that's a cool feature as well. Whenever you have an ever changing character like a goth, because yes, some goths get into a specific look, and that's them to a T 100%. And they never change that look. And then you get the ones that continuously change and evolve. You know, they don't stay stagnant, if you will. Those watering pools that just have all the gunk and bacteria and stuff just sitting in it and floating in it. Some people get to that point, and that's where they stay. Now, there's other people that progress their look when it comes, and that's people in general, you know. And we are at 10 or 11,000 likes already, which is awesome, much appreciated out there. And so, the goth look is an ever changing look. So, and I get the goth culture. It's a very cool and intricate aspect of things in life when it comes to that. So just know if you ever run into a goth or true goth out in the wild, instead of on their Facebook profile or Instagram profile, they are true to themselves, and that's a rare feat for a lot of people out there. Because even now, me, you're gonna if you see me on the street, I'm gonna talk to you as I do right here, right now. And it's just like when I meet you at a comic book convention or something like that. I saw somebody that's in the industry. He was talking about his latest experience at a Comic Con. He's an artist as well, and he's in Artist Alley and has his badge and all that stuff. And he's walking around. Probably, he said about 30 minutes before the show, and he said he keeps running into this guy that's close to a spot, by the concessions and by the bathrooms and stuff like that. And he said every time he walked by this guy, no matter when it was, he's seen him a million times. He's like, he always asks me if I read comic books. And he's like, I'm just basically shaking my head. Because he asks the same question every time he sees me. And he's seen me a million times before the show starts, after the show's ended. Everybody else is gone, but we're the only ones in the building. And so he finally decided to stop at this guy's booth. And he was like, the guy would not shut up about being a salesman. He goes, all I was trying to do was figure out who did some of the artwork on the cover of his book. He's like, I'm pretty sure I recognized the book. And he was like, the guy would not shut up about being a salesman. And he just kept going on about, the big endorsements of big comic artists that, and creators that have, you know, praised his book, his comic book, and things like that. And I do them all over the place. The last one I did was in 2024, and that's whenever I revamped my entire business. That's when I became 412 Productions. Um, I've been to Texas. I've been to Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma City, Arkansas, obviously. Um, where is the farthest out we've been? I think San Antonio was the farthest out that we've gone, and that was in 2024 on that show. But we've been to so many different shows. I mean, I've got tons of badges hanging up over here in my window, from SpaCon to the TexomaCon in Durant, Oklahoma. Oh, they're all over Texas, brother. When it comes to that, you would do great there. Even if you just went as a beginner and just had like little chapter books of your book set up, say like the first two chapters to get people interested in your book. I think you would do really well, especially with your theme and your writing style. It's just like with James, who I'm doing the Sour World stuff for. You know, his stuff, he will do well. Going to conventions and things like that as on top of what he's doing now, because he is a salesman when it comes to everything as well with that. So no, no, don't give your stuff away. As an artist, I will tell you, do not give your stuff away. And you know what? This is what I say to those that like, well, no, you've got to give stuff away. No, do not give your stuff away. Is that right? Am I the right way? Why why is that all looking backwards? Oh, that one is backwards. Oh, because I've got it upside down, dumbass. That's what I say to those that want to give their stuff away. No, do not give your stuff away. Yep, sell the tiny chapter books at a reasonable price. Because say like his book is roughly about $20 if you go buy it on Amazon. You can find it for a cheaper price through other distributors on Amazon and things like that. But um, if he were to break this into say 2 or 3 chapter books to get people interested into buying the whole book, which most people like the whole book anyway, but just starting just starting out, do chapter books of the first 2 chapters and sell that at a smaller price than the $20 price, like a $2 or $3 price, people are going to buy them. And yeah, it costs you money to print. So do you want to give away that print money that you just did? No, you don't. It's just like whenever you ship a piece off, you want to put your price in there and then add the shipping on top of that. Now, some people, if like say somebody were to buy, let's just take Dexter up here, $600. I'm not going to charge shipping on that because you already bought it, at $600. You know, so the shipping will be included in that price. Dexter, Chester, there the same way. Now down here at the $400 price, I might start thinking about some shipping in there. Just because I have to get a crate basically to keep these protected in shipment unless somebody buys it locally. So you've always got to think long term when it comes to it. Now, on the flip side of that too, you said you knew somebody that would possibly buy this, right? Because if I can get that sold, I will give the dude back his money and tell him to come back whenever he's ready to be serious. Um, I know that sounds shitty of me, but this was started in February. It should not be in my hands right now. He has not made another payment in a couple months now. And if you know somebody right now that would buy it today, let me know. Because again, I will refund his $51 that he's put into this when basically for 6 months you're not shitty. he is he is not he is for not paying. Absolutely, yeah. No, I get that. And and I hate to do that to somebody because it is their work. And the price on that one is 180 is what I was selling it to him for. And that was a great deal because it's a $250 piece. So I gave him a good discount because I knew the person that this was for. And I'm going to add in a little shadowing down here at the base, to give it more depth. And then I'm going to color the background as well. Probably put in some like lightning or something in here, something cool, some cool effects. So just let her know it's not complete yet, but it will be. And if I can get it sold just like that, I will refund that guy his money back and get that one out to your friend. And I appreciate that. And but yeah, it always makes me feel indifferent because like I said, this thing started way back in February as just a concept of what her likes were. Because she liked Stitch and she was a witch, a Wiccan. And a lot of people are like, oh, she practices the black arts. That's not what Wiccan means, you people. You need to go read up on your research about what witches are and all that good stuff. And she was a good person, all the way around. She loved life. She just didn't wake up, you know, December 31st, 2025. And yes, the very last day of the year. And she just didn't wake up. And so once he got in touch with me about it, because I had done a card for her that she gave to him of Steve Austin, And if you don't know who Steve Austin is, look up Austin 316, all that good stuff. Pro wrestler, not in wrestling anymore. Does movies now, a lot of bad movies. But he got in touch with me and was like, "Hey, I'd like to do a memorial piece since we both knew her, yada yada yada." So I gave him a good discount on it. Well, time moved forward, 3, almost 4 months in, and I still hadn't gotten a payment, and I was almost done with the piece. And it was just like, hello, what are we doing here? I haven't seen a payment from you yet. And then he starts making me out to be the bad guy, that I'm pushier than a salesperson just because I'm trying to get my money for a piece that you commissioned in February. And 4 months later, I'm just now getting my first partial payment of like 20 something bucks. When had he done it at $25 increments per month, he would have been done paying for this a long time ago. And so it's just like it makes no sense for me to hold on to this whenever somebody else can buy it right now. And if he wants to be serious about it later, he can come back and get, another piece done. Because I was generous enough to cut the price since it was a memorial piece. And I felt like I gave him a good deal on it. And again, he's a business manager. He runs a business in town. He's the manager of the business. So make that make sense. I'm not going to out the business here in town because if you know, I've already given the location before on one of my shows on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, Arkansas. But between Arts Barbecue and Lowe's, it's a very narrow window right there. If you know, you know. But that's all I'm going to give you. But no, I did tell him that I would bring some flyers up there to post on the windows and around the area, about how shitty of a person this guy is for non-payments, you know. And then he, like I said, he turns me into the bad guy, you know, because he's not paying his bill on a piece of artwork he requested and commissioned from me. And we always talk about also the unfinished stuff that is laying around here, like the Duke, John Wayne, unfinished piece. Rooster Cogburn, another John Wayne piece. Oh, you jackass. Right there. Yes, he's got a drinking problem right there in his hands. Yeah, yeah, 6 months ago. Yeah, because February is when he came at me. February 2nd, as a matter of fact. My most controversial piece to date, the blank slate. No, I'm just kidding. This one produced so much interesting heat. It's not even funny. I laugh at it because I thought it was very clever. Other people look at it and are like, "Oh my god, that's so sacrilegious." And it's like, to each their own. Art is art. It's just like drawing boobs, drawing wieners, drawing whatever. You know, art is art. And I don't get in my feels when it comes to the art, if that makes sense. If somebody wants TNA on a comic book cover, I'll do it. If somebody wants Wiener on their cover, I'll do it. I did a commission of the Hulk with a Prince Albert, or well, was it a Prince Albert? It was a Prince Albert with a cage. One time, and so that was one of my most interesting uh, pieces that I've done in a while, and that was probably back in what was that 2023, 2022, somewhere in there, when I drew that piece that at a comic book convention. Um, and then I just saw someone post a meme um, that was like, why is it when Hulk changes, his pants are the only thing intact on him? And someone was like, well, if you want to be the guy that's drawing Hulk's stuff, then you go right ahead. Well, I've done that, you know. But this one was quite interesting. Even my ex mother in law came at me for this one, who is very religious. Um, Mind you, I've been a pastor. I was a pastor for a year. Um, I've been on all sides of religion. I just have an more open mind, I guess. Dahmer is eating. Yes, yes. I mean that's a great piece. My horror series pieces with Jeffrey Dahmer eating, you know, a member. Pun intended, but I'm done. Right here, I'm the Marvel Jesus, and he's crucified with his own samurai swords on an M, not on a D, but on an M for Marvel. And this one has been my most controversial piece for a lot of people for whatever reason. Even professional artists came at me for this piece because they were like, even though you can, you shouldn't. It's like, why? The gold member, Austin Powers. And it's like, why? Why can't I express the vision I saw whenever I heard that line, oh, I'm the Marvel Jesus, come out of his mouth? Because he keeps getting resurrected every time he gets cut down and all that good stuff. And it's like, why get so butthurt over a piece of artwork? I don't get it. There's a lot more things to be butthurt over than a piece of artwork. It's like the guy that taped the banana on the wall and called it art. A lot of people got butthurt over that because he sold it for what, $250,000 or something like that. So what the hell are you gonna do? Watch this banana deteriorate, and you just spent $250,000 on it? I mean, he could, 100%. I mean, he's actually gone through time, so he is part of the multiverse. But yeah, this has been one of my most controversial drawings to date, and I haven't even finished it yet. I haven't even tightened in everything. I haven't done all of my goody good stuff. You know, and once I get some paint to this, it's going to be even cooler. You know, yeah, 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 absolutely. And then move over to my magic piece, which is going to be done in a Patrick Nagel style. And if you know who Patrick Nagel is, great 70s, 80s artist, excuse me, that did a lot of Playboy stuff, did a lot of Duran Duran covers, other covers as well. And I've got two pieces that are like that. Right here is the other one. Oh, look, boobs. Go figure, a guy drawing boobs. And these are the unfinished pieces that I have just laying around. That's just a few. And you saw the other three, plus all of the getting more completed side of things. Has there ever been a villain that can take other people's powers, rendering them useless? Rogue started out as a villain, and that was her ability. Absorbing Man. I don't know if he left his people. Well, he didn't touch people. He touched objects. That was in the DC universe. Go figure. They always made things safe on that side. Just like the Green Lanterns, they never used their powers up until people were like, we can do a lot more stuff with this ring than just a boxing glove or a kangaroo or whatever the hell we're making it do. And so then they got real with the powers of the Lantern Ring. But on the Marvel side, you had so many different characters. Oh, look, Roy finally decided to show up on the right side of social media. Welcome, Roy. 46 minutes into the show. Since you just sent me some laughing emojis on Messenger, you jackass. But welcome, Roy. Welcome to the show. I'm trying to think of any other character or other villains that suck the power out of anybody. Rogue is the only one I can think of. She sucks your essence basically because she takes on your essence. Once she touches you, she takes on your powers and it leaves you useless. Um, that's why whenever in X Men, the first X Men, uh, Magneto was using her for that purpose alone, so that he would survive it. But Rogue is one of the only ones I can think of right now. But she does turn into a ally and a superhero for, you know, the X Men. But in the beginning stages, she was not a good person, if you will. But she's the only one I can think of right off the top of my head. And I know I'm probably overlooking a lot of indie villains, if you will, that can suck the power out of other heroes and render them useless. But that's what she did. Anytime you saw her in the comic books, whenever she touched somebody, they passed out, they lost all abilities, and she gained their abilities. Um, Now Wolverine, she did get his healing factor and all that good stuff, which like they showed in the movie, whenever she touched or he touched her or whatever, and she sucked his ability out of him, he almost died. You know. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. Let me look here real fast. Let's look this up. And let's just go ahead and pay homage to Hayden Panettiere, Panettiere, who passed away at 36. Um, we all know that there's something hinky about that. 90 some odd days after she ousted in her podcast that, you know, she trusted this person and took them into a room on a boat that had a well known male in there that basically she was getting catered to and said, hey, she's yours. And she had to run and to the boat somewhere and hide as a, child, basically. And then 96 days later, she's gone. Something ain't adding up. First, they said it was a cardiac arrest. And then they said, no, it looks like a drug overdose. So who knows which way it really went. But let's just say she was taken. She wasn't, she didn't do what they're, claiming that she did, especially with her ex boyfriend abuser who you can read the stories. Um, Let's see. You got Parasite from the DC Comics, a classic Superman villain who absorbed life energies, memories, and superpowers through physical touch. Super Adaptoid, an artificial intelligent android built by AIM. Regent Marvel, an industrialist villain from the Earth 18, good God, universe who uses high tech containment suits to imprison superhumans and drain their abilities for himself. Black Alice from the DC comic side, a young mystic. Amazo from the DC, an iconic android. Um, let's see what this one says. So there's a few. Again, I don't know them all, just because, you know. Thank you for the gifts out there, much appreciated. That 36 cents always goes back into the printing process of everything. Let's see. Like Rogue, this person says Rogue's able to, if she's able to touch someone, she can absorb both their powers and their memories. Um, let's see what this person said. Yeah, Parasite from the DC universe. Apparently, Carnage can do it as well. It says Carnage can absorb the abilities of beings even if they do not have a symbiote by integrating the source of their powers into itself. So I didn't even know that. So this one has a little bit more comprehensive. Uh, Rogue, Lamprey. I've never even heard of Lamprey. Doctor Doom supposedly can take the abilities of others. The Absorbing Man. So see, I only thought he did matter and powers from items and objects. But I appreciate you guys out there. And he can take their powers too, not just abilities. Thomas Boyd, Cyforce, New Universe, aka Siphon, by stealing the energy. Lamprey, yeah, is a character I've never even seen before, so that's a new one for me. Let's see here. Thomas Boyd, Cyforce, uh, Calvin Rankin, aka Mimic, Gideon the External. On the DC side, there's Parasite, Amazo, which we've already talked about. Amazo looks a little bit like Eclipso. If you've seen Eclipso, you've seen Amazo. Black Alice, which we already talked about. Amazing Man could also take abilities. He has the same abilities as Absorbing Man. So there you go. So yeah, there's quite a few, and some that I hadn't even heard of before. So yeah, there's quite a few that actually are fall into that category of being able to take and leave the other person useless, if you will, when it comes to superpowers and things of that nature. Um, so again, there's a lot of characters out there like that started somewhere, started in the mind, started in the writer's mind, and sometimes it's in the artist's mind too. I'm not a writer per se. Um, that's why it's taken me forever to write my own book on my own comic book. even though it is a 4 issue limited miniseries. And why that? Because back in the 80s and early 90s, Marvel did this great little series of comic books, which were the miniseries. They did a maxi series and another series that was 6 issues long. The maxi series was 12 issues long. And the 4 issue miniseries were the best to get because it encompassed more of the character's story than you got from them being with their super group. And yes, a lot of mine came from the Uncanny X Men, Nightcrawler, Colossus, the Wolverine, first 4 issue miniseries. I think Rogue and Gambit also had 4 issue miniseries, Cyclops. I mean, so on and so forth. So many different characters from the Uncanny X Men that were just the X Men from 1963 alone. Beast, or Angel, Archangel later, Marvel Girl, Cyclops, Scott Summers, all that good stuff. Beast, all those had 4 issue miniseries that gave you a more in depth look into their life outside of the group, outside of the group dynamic that you didn't get to see through the stories that were being weaved in the comic book. Because there was always something going on. There was some crisis. There was always this, always that. Very, very was there any downtime or leisure time for them, you know? And so the concepts of that is what is pushing my book, my comic book, to be a 4 issue miniseries. I'm on book one, page 18 or something like that. I think they're going to be 22 or 26 pages long, depending. And I'm doing it all. I'm writing the book, I'm penciling the book, I'm inking the book, and then the only thing that I'm outsourcing are 3 other covers to each book. The only constant will be my cover on each book, on each comic. But I am wanting to get 3 other artists, and I've got people in mind to do a cover, and there will be 3 different people on every book. It will never be the same person twice. Why? Because I want to give a lot of people a chance, just like I was given chances, to do comic book covers for different comic books, um, with Legacy Comics, with William Russell's Psycho Sal #3, my homage to the X Files, and I've done 2 different books for Legacy Comics. One I did the entire thing; it was an 8-page book, but it looked cool, very very awesome. Not just tooting my own horn on that, but it was very, very well done. Uh, and from 2 different covers for that book, think Frank Miller style, with it all. Little pops of color here and there in the book. And then, um, of course, all the different novels that I'm on right now. It's just, life is surreal if you look at it. From the penciled concept to the finished work. If you were to see this whenever it was in its pencil form, night and day difference. It's just like whenever I get the logo for his Sour Worlds finished and this God of War piece finished, and all of the intricate details, you know, put into place that you're not seeing right off the bat. Um, all of the detail that's going to go into his pieces on the novellas right here for his book. You know, once it's all said and done, it's just like this piece as I've been tightening it into the Batman Who Laughs, putting in all the chain details, putting in all the different, you know, gradients of shading and the veins and all of that good stuff. You know, all of it is a progression. All of it is defining what it's going to look like in the end product. And that's what most people don't see. They just see the finished product. They don't know the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that go into a piece sometimes. It's just like I've got a piece that I wish I could work on right now. It's my 8 foot tall, hand stretched canvas of Boba Fett. I've got nowhere to work on it except for outside, and that's not very conducive. Um, just because things could happen. A branch could fall, go right through the piece. Yeah, why don't you put it up at night? Well, if I'm working on it, it's going to sit where it sits. Then you got to worry about dust storms with as dry as it's been. Then you got to worry about bugs getting in your paint. Then you got to worry about animals scratching up your piece. Then you got to worry. There's all kinds of different things. I just don't have a ceiling high enough to prop it up, like it should be. And I would love to get that thing finished, or even take it if, and this is a big if, I go back to comic book conventions, take it with me and work on it while I'm at this convention. But that means a double to even triple booth, you know, because that would be a main focal point with one booth and then the other two booths on each side that are selling the merchandise while I'm working on, that piece. You know, it's just envisions in my head. Definitely whenever I get my book up and running, I will definitely get back into the convention game because that is a big selling point for your stuff. Just like, you know, all the word of mouth when it comes down to the artwork side of things. The more people that talk about your stuff and spread it out there. And see, that's the free advertisement that a lot of people don't understand. Whenever you have a friend or an artist that you like, repost their stuff, comment on their stuff, share their stuff, and talk about their stuff on different platforms that you're on. I know James does a good job at that, plugging my stuff, and we're at 34.7 thousand likes, Mr. Casey. And I know a lot of other people on this platform as well that do the same thing, that share, that save my posts after I post them and things like that. And that's a great word of mouth and a great advertisement that you just don't get by boosting a post or making your own ads and sticking them out there because sometimes you're on a very limited audience. Like right now, we are probably, I don't know the exact number of people that have watched the show so far, um, but like by the time it's all said and done, I usually have about 500 and some odd people that have watched the show, even if it's just for a minute, 5 minutes, whatever. That still pushes us out there. Just like the likes at 35.4 thousand likes, that puts us in the popular live category. Some people don't even get 10,000 likes on their show, you know? So, but then I know that there are other people out there that have, like 800 follower or 800 people viewing their show right now, or because of why these things are hanging out. What are those? Those are called boobs. And I can scroll right now and find a ton of live shows that's all you're seeing, you know. And that's why they've got the views. That's why they've got the comments. That's why they're getting all the gifts and galaxies and everything else that people throw at them. And then whenever they do get certain things, they do certain things. Um, which is, oh, let me bend over to read the screen a little bit better. Uh huh. Well, I'm sorry you don't get that here. You get nerd talk, all right? And then I know there are nerd channels out there that's their selling point as well, and that's fine. If that's how you get your people in, cool. You know, um, that's not what we do here. We talk about cool stuff. We show cool artwork. We talk about cool artwork. We talk about movies. We talk about horror. We talk about horror movies. We talk about sci-fi movies. We talk about classics. You know, Tubi, a great place of classic source of movies when it comes to stuff from even the 1940s to present day. A lot of campy stuff out there, but it's fun stuff, and it's a lot better than some of the stuff that they're producing now. Like, I was not a fan of Evil Dead Burn. I thought it sucked, to be honest. Obsession, okay. Um, it was an okay movie. I can't say it was a great thriller at best. It wasn't a horror movie, if you will, like they're categorizing it as. I haven't seen Backrooms yet, so I'm hoping I don't get let down on that one after everybody says it's great, because that's what everybody was saying about Obsession, and it's just like I didn't like it, you know, and it's like I get the hype. I mean, I get the concept, but it was an okay movie. It wasn't as great as they're making it out to be. Yes, absolutely, the Dallas Cowboys 100%. Even though you're a turncoat and we know it. But there's a lot of movies out there that people say are great and grand and oh my god, it scared the Jesus out of me and all this other stuff. And it's like, I don't get it. I didn't see it. It's like a lot of people loved It Follows, basically about an STD, if you will. And it's just like, it was a stupid movie. 100%. Didn't like it. Could care less. Hope they never make a sequel. Um, and it's just like, so much hype goes into a lot of movies that they just don't live up to that hype. But so many people are praising it. Now, is it because you want to look cool? You don't want to look like a fool? I could care less. I'm going to call it like I see it. I've seen better stuff from the 1970s and 1960s than some of the shit that's getting produced today. I saw a couple of indie films here on Tubi as well. Lair of the Killer Clowns. Someone posted on their IMDb channel that this was definitely not Killer Clowns. Well, duh. That's not what they said it was going to be. It was an okay. It was decent, for an indie film. Uh, Woman tracking down her brother who got involved with a clown cult, if you will. And, it was a little slow for the most part, but there was a lot of cool, segues in there because she's having visions and all this good stuff. But it was a decent movie. If you check it out on Tubi, Lair of the Killer Clowns, it was pretty good. And then Obsidian Curse or something like that was another decent one. But that one deserves a sequel. Um, and I watched so many when it comes to it. It's just hard to pinpoint everything that I've watched. So, oh my, oh, Twilight Zone. Thank you. I thought you were falling in line with Roy there about his damn Twilight bullshit. I was gonna have to say we're gonna have to talk because Twilight, the books were horrible, the movies were worse. Okay, and now, like I said, Kirsten or whatever her name is, who played Bella, is going to try and revamp that series. Um, So, but anyway, I mean, maybe she'll do a better job than what they originally did in the beginning with all that because it was horrific. Acting was very, very horrific. Uh, Sparkling vampires, no. Vampires explode in the sun. They do not sparkle like diamonds. Uh, no, Twilight Zone. No Twilight bullshit. Uh, Horrible, horrible movies when it comes to Twilight, and I'm talking all of them. I can't even pinpoint a good one in the series. Uh, the oh, here you go, Roy. The best part of Twilight was the ending when it's rolling all the cast. That's the only good part. Oh look, it ended. Yay! We never have to see it again. Awesome. And then she writes another damn book. Great, great. I hope they never adapt that one to a movie. I'm just saying. And I honestly hope that she does not revamp or reboot the movies because they were already horrific enough as it is. That Twilight Zone was awesome. You know, when it came to everything, the old black and white stuff to the more modern day stuff that went to color. Uh, even Twilight Zone the movie was better than Twilight the series, and all the different short stories that ran through there were pretty awesome. Uh, and I still like to watch them. You know, periodically throw them on. You know, as I'm doing artwork. But Roy, you're going to be the only one that says that about those movies. You and my girlfriend because the movies suck and worst movies ever made. And that's saying a lot compared to a lot of movies out there. And I'm talking about some of the shit that's out there today. Um, if I had a top list of the top 100 worst movies ever made, Twilight would be my number one worst movies ever made. And I would just put the series, the entire series, because that's how horrific they were. Yeah, that's two people in the world. There you go. Congratulations. Yeah, well, I know my girlfriend likes them too, but and I make fun of them every time she has them on, and she knows this. It's so bad. It just hurts to watch. I would rather watch. Let me think. Oh, the Toxic Avenger over and over again. She's at work, so she's not going to see this. You'll just have to go text her yourself. Um, yeah, Toxic Avenger. I would watch it over and over again. Swamp Thing. I would watch it over and over again before I ever praised Twilight because Twilight sucks. I don't care what anybody says. Come at me. I don't give a shit. Twilight movies, Twilight books, all suck. And you will never change my mind. You know, it's that little meme that says such and such does this. Change my mind. You know, Twilight movies suck. Change my mind. You can't. You won't. So yeah, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you're more power to you. You know, but ah, the worst movies ever made. Horrible, horrible. He's gonna go watch some Twilight now with some glittery hand gel, if you know what I mean. Roy, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. All right, folks, that is it. I got to go check on this possum and see how he is faring right now. But you all have a great day, and as I like to say, you're right, Casey. Oh my God. You all have a great day, and as I like to say, love you guys. Tell the people that are around you that you love them, because tomorrow is not promised. The next 10 minutes isn't promised. So remember, just tell them you love them, because if you do enjoy them as friends or confidants or whatever, you should love the people around you. But as I like to say, as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.